There you go. Okay. I think we're rolling. We're gonna have to like put this way back there. Hi. We need to get closer. You need to get closer. Hi, I'm Julie Spencer, and this is Lisa Swinton.
Hi.
And we are two romance authors, sort of. I write a lot of love stories, but she writes mostly romance.
Clean and wholesome contemporary romance.
We are at an a writer's retreat. So we are basically goofing off and having fun and getting lots of writing done and having fun with our friends. Yep. So Lisa is my primary focus today because most people who are watching this are probably watching it on my YouTube channel or on my Facebook. And we are attempting to just do a informal, goofy meeting with the two of us. So I want to talk a lot about Lisa's books. I'm Julie Spencer, she's Lisa. So she's going to tell us about her author journey, when you started writing and some of your books. And then I know you had a new book come out last week. So why don't you tell us just about all that?
Okay. So I started my author journey in 2009. So it's been, I don't know how many years, but it's like 11, 12. So about 12 years ago, right about this time. And I got into it on a dare. I was not a person who ever had it on my bucket list to be a writer, to write novels, to write books. That was not part of my plan at all. But I had some friends that were forming a group and they're like, come and write with us. It'll be fun, they said. And I was like, I don't write. Are you sure? So we came, we brought ideas for our writing and they said, bring a chapter next week. And I said, okay, but if it's rubbish, could you just tell me? Because I don't want to spend time working on something that I don't have any talent for and I don't waste everybody else's time. So just be honest. I brought my chapter and they're like, no, it's good, keep going. So that first book with writing and editing and feeling like it was ready took about 3 years.
Oh no, seriously?
I'm not kidding. But I also started, once I finished that one, and then I started working on other books too. So I had to decide whether I was going traditional or independent or hybrid. And I have friends that do all of those things and they're all awesome. And I decided that I was headed to another conference. My husband was like, it was 2014. He goes, 2013. He goes, what are you doing with all these books that you're writing? Like, you need to do something with them.
So you had all these books written, but you hadn't published
books and I hadn't done anything with them. I hadn't graded them. I hadn't published them. I went to a conference and that's when I realized that I wanted to go indie because I just wanted the control. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be able to publish when I wanted to publish and not be on somebody else's timetable. So I published my first 2 books in 2014 and I published anywhere from 1 to 3 books or stories a year, depending on the year ever since. So we're at 2021. I have 12 books and 5 short stories out. So
now, are you in some anthologies?
I am not.
You're not, okay.
In any anthologies.
So your short stories, are they published just as books, just like you could buy any other book?
So you can pick them up. Everything is on Amazon. So to answer your question, where can you find me? You can find me at www.lisaswinton.com or look me up on Amazon under Lisa Swinton. Everything is there. Everything but one is in Kindle Unlimited currently. And the one that's not is free, and it's free wide, which means every retailer. So you can find that. And that's the first in that short story series. And so that's how I got into writing, was on a dare. And here we are 12 years later and 12 books later and some short stories later and still writing. So this week, we've been here is another short story.
Oh, what you're working now is a short story?
Yep. It's currently titled Holly and Mistletoe.
She writes a lot. Like she'll sit down, have these word count goals and like thousands of words in a day. How many words do you normally write a day?
So normally when I'm writing and working on whatever my work in progress is, 1,200 words a day. And once I hit my 1,200 mark, I walk away.
Seriously?
I do.
Even if you're like in the middle of some big inspiration?
It will be there tomorrow. I have other things I'm responsible for in my life. Wow. And so when I hit the 1,200 words, I'm done. And that takes about an hour because I do what I call 15-5s, which means I have to sprint for 15 minutes and then I take 5 minutes off and I do 3 rounds of that, and that's 1,200 words for me. And that works for me. But it took a lot of trial and error to get to that point, just so you know. And probably one of the questions you had asked me before is, what are some things I've learned? One of the best things I ever did to learn writing as an author was to do NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, in the month of November. I am by nature a discovery writer, which some people call pantsers. And then there
flying by the seat of their pants.
and then there are plotters, and then there's sometimes what we call plantsers, which is a hybrid version of it. And going into my first nano, I realized there was no way that I could totally discovery write 50,000 words in less than 30 days. Because I don't write on weekends and I don't write during holidays. And I don't know why they picked November.
I don't know why they picked November either.
During holiday weekends. So, but that taught me a lot about, I don't wait for the muse to strike me when it's writing time. My backside goes in the chair and the fingers go on the keyboard and I just go.
See, and I have to have my muse going, and by gosh, if you ask me to stop when I'm in the middle of it, I don't care if it's 1,200 words, I am gonna keep typing, and like I have to put like a sign on the door to well, I think my husband and I have a little similar, if I have my headphones in, don't bug me. So that's kind of his, you know, because I don't really have a door knob like that. My office doesn't have a door.
Right.
It's very open to the rest of the house. And so that's kind of my signal. I'll put my headphones on and I'll kind of shout out to whoever's in the house, headphones are on, and then they know not to bug me. Because once I start typing, and if you stop me and say, hey, can you pick up milk at the grocery store? I'll be like, did you really need to tell me that right this second? I'm in the middle of the muse.
No, I tell
it to the muse.
No, I tell the muse when to show up and when to shut up.
Must be nice because my muse often wants to talk at 2 in.
Oh yeah, no.
These guys are kind of weird. We're on a
very different life schedule. It's totally fine. But that's the point about writing, is that it can be done anytime, anywhere. It's totally individual. Julie's process works awesome for her, but my process would not work awesome for her, and vice versa. You're writing at 2 in would be a total train wreck. It would be very bad.
We had a lesson tonight. Actually, Tracy Hunter Abramson gave us our lesson tonight, and it was on how to handle, like, a survival guide of discovery writing. So we perked up, our ears perked up, because we're both discovery writers, and so is she. And one of the things that the main message of her whole, you know, lesson was that what works for you is what's the best way to do it. And so, like, for me, I'm a night owl, and I would rather sleep until 10 o'clock and stay up until 2 in. And most of these guys are in bed by 10 o'clock. And you know, up and walking the beach by 7 a.m. And I'm like, don't even talk to me before 7 a.m. Although the past couple of days I've been up at like 8, which is way earlier than my norm. So, but we've been here for, where are we? We're in
Corolla, North Carolina.
Outer Banks.
Yep.
And we're at a beach house, and we are having a great time. I've been in the ocean twice since we got here, and you've probably been in like every day. No. My awesome water temperature hits more like July, August. Oh, okay.
The day I got in with you was the only day.
Oh, really?
So I've been in my feet and my legs, but I don't get off the fan.
So it was cold a couple of days, and you know, when we say cold, we're talking mid-70s, which is mid-70s air next to an ocean. That's a little bit too cold to be just jumping in the ocean.
No, the day we got in was 80.
It was 80. Oh, yeah. The day we got in was 80, but the day we
got in the water. Oh, the day
we talked about getting in the water, but only got up to our knees. That was low 70s, I think. Yeah, it was too cold for us to be going in. But the day we went in, we had fun. So we go walk to one end of the island, peninsula, whatever it is, to go watch the sunset. I've got lots of pictures.
Yes, the sound.
And then, what was it called? The
Currituck Lighthouse.
Currituck Lighthouse.
220 steps up.
That's what we did today. I know. As sedentary as my little body is, I actually walked the top of the lighthouse, and you've done that several times. You've been here for several years in a row.
Yeah,
right?
I've been here a lot of years, and I don't always do the lighthouse when I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, today we did it.
Well, we appreciated you taking. Several of us authors went with her, and Lisa is. Lisa's our little like leader in this. the rest of us are like, oh, okay, we'll do what you tell us to. And she's like, I don't know if we're gonna go to the lighthouse or not. I'm like, wait, I want to go to the lighthouse. And so she's been so sweet to include us in all these things that are probably old news to her because she comes here a lot. And for us, it's like this brand new exciting thing. So,
but it was a beautiful view up there. We had clear skies, lots of visibility, so we had great views. Okay, so you also asked me about the new release.
yes. Okay.
So my new release.
I'm getting
fun.
distracted by
That's fine.
like fun things that we're doing.
We are doing fun things. This is a new release was a month ago, and this is Falling for the Diva. It is the third and I believe now final, because I've made some changes while we've been here. We've been talking lots of authory fun stuff, marketing and things, and so it's gonna be a trilogy. And so it's the third and final book in the Opera Dynasty romance series. And this one, we are a second chance romance.
Okay.
I kind of have a thing for those. Just for your information, I tend to write a lot of books that involve music or theater or dancing, but I have a degree in musical theater, so it kind of just comes spilling out whether I mean for it to or not. And this particular series has been super fun to write because it's been about opera performers, and anytime I can be in the theater world is super fun for me, and I've been missing it with with the pandemic. There hasn't really been.
I know you used to perform like in Vegas. Have you recently?
So
when's the most recent things that you've been performing on stage?
The last thing I got to do prior to COVID was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I played one of the wives.
What year? Like recently?
So that was, let's see, we didn't do this year, 2020, 2019. They did Newsies, and I opted not to do that one, even though I love Newsies. It's a great musical, the Christian Bale version. And then
I've never seen it. So
oh my gosh.
I never have.
I don't know if we can be friends now. I'm sorry. No, but and the year for that, so was that 2018, I guess? 2018 was the last time I was on stage.
And what did you do in Vegas?
Vegas, I was a singer at the Venetian with all my clothes on, by the way. Just to clarify that. Not everybody does. And there's nothing, that's fine, but it just wasn't for me. But I spent 3 years there working as a singer.
Okay.
And, paying off my student loans that way.
So I'm impressed.
And so actually it was a lot of fun. I met lots of great people. I had awesome experiences. And I spent 3 years singing in Italian.
In Italian? Yeah, because you were opera.
Because it was all aria and art songs, and you had to be in Italian. So not all, some of them are in English. I mean, because some people like Dean Martin, they think that's fun to hear. So
see, my favorite opera is Phantom of the Opera, and that's technically not an opera.
I didn't see any of that. It's not, it didn't quite fit what I was supposed to be doing. So no, there was no Christine on the boats.
Love Phantom of the Opera.
But because that's my background, about every other book or so that I write usually involves one of those three: music, or singing, dancing, or theater. But I have other books that don't. If you don't want that, I have other books that are not that. But this one was a second chance romance. The opera is Carmen, and they are playing the role, the main title roles, and they've got some history to work through. She's got a big secret that she's been hiding from him this whole time. He deserted her. And that's how they broke up.
I'm predicting what the secret is. I haven't read it yet. I need to read it.
But it's lots of fun to write. It's set in New York. There's Metropolitan Opera performing Carmen, and really all the drama is behind the scenes, and that's the most fun to write. Like, it's fun to write the performances, but all the drama happening backstage.
Yeah.
Like what the audience sees on the stage is just a fraction of what's actually been going on. And that's why it's fun for me to do theater, because like the audience comes and they see this performance, like all the hard work you put into everything, but they don't know all the hijinks that have been happening in the background. And to be honest, sometimes for them, I don't even know all the hijinks. I'm kind of glad not to.
Yeah.
When there's really a lot of drama going on. So it's fun for me to write all of that fun stuff.
And it's fun for us to read it, because most of us have never been backstage on like those types of performances.
Right.
So it's like we were living vicariously.
And I think that's why you were enjoying some of your shows, your TV shows this week, because I noticed you watched a couple of reality TV shows. And that's the thing, people like to know, yeah, we love seeing the pretty finished product, but then we like to know what all the stuff that happened behind the scenes was.
Yes.
Like, that's where people get excited and watch things like Big Brother and Survivor and all those kinds of shows. Like even watching Great British Bake Off.
Yes, you guys have been doing it.
There's some of us that are fans. But we like seeing all that drama play out in front of us, instead of just seeing your pretty little cake at the end and going, well, that looks nice and tasty. we would like to see all the part where like the whole first cake deflated in the oven or burnt to a crisp. We had to start all over again. Like we find that entertaining. I think that means there's something wrong with us, but anyway.
Voyeuristic.
So yeah, so that's why.
Yes, if you're watching this on the replay, last night was the season finale of Big Brother. And I had to watch it because I'm a total Big Brother fan. It also happened to be like the second episode of the new Survivor season. So I had to watch that. So here I'm at a writing conference, spending 3 hours watching television in one night.
But yeah, did your guy win, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the guy I wanted to win. But we took a break halfway through the television show because we had to go rescue a kitten.
Yeah.
But
the kitten's being taken care of. It's okay. It is a feral cat. So,
and it's a cute little thing, and it sits outside our door because it thinks it's going to get fed.
Well, and I think it's just craving attention, like all the rest of us.
Yes, he loved it when you spent hours.
I know. I am a cat person, so
me too.
I think they kind of know that.
Yes, they do. Yeah, I think so too. Because you were like the cat whisperer.
Yeah. Well, when we had our hamster, I was also the hamster whisperer. I was the only one that could get the hamster without being bitten.
I'm probably bitten.
It's fine. The hamster eventually committed suicide. It's all good.
We're on live video. You can't say the hamster.
No, she did. I am not kidding. We came down one Sunday morning and my son was like, Mom, something is really wrong with the hamster. And she was she tried to be Houdini, but she was not very successful. And somehow she had climbed, fallen, and gashed her nose and her eye through. And I mean, I am all about taking care of your pets and making sure they're all right. But someone's like, we got to take the hamster to the vet. And I said, sweetie, does the vet feel like you might get 10 hamsters? And so then a few days later, she died from her wound.
Put herself out of her machine. Sorry. It's getting late, and so we're getting a little punchy. But we're having fun, and that's all that matters. And every time my husband like calls me or texts me, are you getting a lot of writing done? Like,
you are. I did extra writing for mistakes. I'm trying to finish my story tomorrow, which is so.
And I've got like I think sometimes people don't think of it if you're not actually physically like typing a story like what she has been doing. I actually like outlined 2 novels. I've done a bunch of editing, done some newsletter stuff. So it's kind of like when you say, how many words did you write today? And like, I edited 3 chapters. Does that count?
Yes,
kind
it
of
does.
Like, yes, it does. Yeah.
And that's what when people were asking about this retreat, they're like, well, what's the deal? And I was like, look, if you have whatever your project is that you need to get done, right? If you need to get edits done, if you need to work on book covers, if you need to get words in, if you need to outline another book, like whatever your project is, you work on that. It's not, we're at the end of the day, we're all going to see who could post the highest word count. I'm not in for competition and comparison because it is the thief of joy. And so everybody's been working on their own projects and making progress, which was the point.
And as our fearless leader, as I mentioned, she's like our little guru and lifter upper and fearless leader here. She asked us on day 1, what are your goals for this week? So that we didn't feel like we were trying to keep up with
anybody.
Her or Tracy Hunter Abramson is here. She is a very fast writer also, and she just goes and goes, and I can't keep up with her, but I'm not trying to. And that's kind of the point, is I don't have to try to keep up with her.
You don't.
She, she does her thing and I do my thing, and she doesn't expect me to wake up at 8 in the morning to go walk the beach. And I don't expect her to stay up until 2 in the morning and outline another book.
That's right.
And what is this? We're doing something tonight. I was supposed to do something late at night. I guess something with the database spreadsheet.
Oh, you're learning Airtable.
I was learning Airtable, and I was teasing these guys that, by tomorrow morning, you'll see what I did overnight when I was working on it. But as we were sitting here chatting, and I think when you got a phone call from your daughter, I ended up getting most of what I was going to do on Airtable done. So now I'm yay. Now I can go do some more editing.
Another goal that you didn't even know you were going to add to your kid, but you did, and you did read progress on it. And that's the point. The point is to make progress every day, one way or the other, whether it's words on the page or edits or any of the other projects that we have to do.
And so I was going to ask you to give any advice to, if there's any aspiring authors out there, and I think you sort of just did, but is there something else that you want to, like, if you could advise somebody who wants to write a book
You mean besides don't do it? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I think there are a few things that are important. One, know your why. Know why you choose to write, why you choose to invest your time and your heart into that particular venture. If you don't know your why, it's going to make it a lot harder for you.
So what is your why?
It took me a while, and actually I didn't know. To be quite honest, until a few years ago. I had still been writing, I was publishing, and I was getting frustrated with where I was. And that happens to every author. So that's another thing. You're going to get frustrated. It's okay. Have a group, have a tribe, oh, we're not supposed to say that word anymore. What are we supposed to say? Yeah, apparently that's offensive. Okay. Have a group of people that you can turn to for support and for cheerleading when you get frustrated or downhearted or whatever, because you will. It's a process just like any other thing in life. And so have that group that you can turn to.
I can call them a critique group.
Your critique group, and it can be other online people that you know, or people you're at writers retreats, or they're just different things like that. People you can reach out to who get the author brain and understand it. And the other thing, but I was going to say with that, it was actually, I was sitting there at the conference the year that Tracy was the keynote speaker, and I had spent the whole conference going, I think I might just stop doing the writing thing. I don't think I'm going to continue this anymore. I was just in a rough spot.
I'm really glad you didn't.
And she gave her keynote in her bare feet, because if you know Tracy, she's barefoot as often as possible.
And not pregnant.
No, she just doesn't like shoes.
Her kids are pretty much grown up.
Yeah, but she was giving her keynote, and I sat there and I'd been asking my question all weekend. Why am I writing? Why am I writing? And it came to me as she's giving her keynote. It was because I am a storyteller. Whether it's on the stage or on the paper or singing in my church choir or whatever, but I am a storyteller, and that's why I write.
Wow, that's profound.
And so you might not know your why when you start, but somewhere along the way, you're going to have to figure it out, because once you do, you'll know why you're going to continue, even when it's hard. It's not going to take away the joy of it or anything, but it will tell you why you're going to stick with it. So you need to know your why. Just like if you're going to work out or lose weight or exercise or be good about your health or whatever, you need to know why you're doing it. If it's for vanity, it's probably going to go away. If it's because you actually want to feel happy in your skin, it's probably going to stick.
Yeah, and I think for me as a writer, it's probably very similar, that it's just kind of inherent. It's just part of me. I think I've been telling stories all my life, and like you said, I'm a storyteller. And I wrote my first novel when I was in junior high. Threw it away.
Wow.
What I wouldn't give to have that manuscript back again.
If nothing else, for like a really good laugh.
Okay, so if you're a young person watching this,
keep them.
Don't throw away your first manuscripts, even if they're really, really bad. Because mine was really, really bad, but it would have still been fun to look back at it and make note of how bad it was.
So here's another thing. It's a new one. Words on the page. All words on the page are good words, even if they're bad words. You can edit bad words. I'm not talking the 4-letter kind. I'm like, you can edit bad words on the page, but you can't edit a blank page.
Yeah.
So words on the page. And then the other thing that I would probably tell you is, I just thought of it and I lost it. This is what happens when it gets too late for me. It was really good too.
I always think of it, you can't sell a book that doesn't exist.
That's
so
true.
like I can't, I mean, technically some people do, they'll put a book up on like pre-order and then write it, and I can't do that. But
I can't do that either.
I want to have it written, but
oh, I know what it is.
Okay.
You can learn to do hard things. So when you get to something related to writing, it could be dialogue, it could be description, it might not be craft related if you decide to go independent and it's a marketing thing, whatever it is, you had to at some point learn to write. So when you were talking about that novel that you wrote back when you were a teenager, that was awesome because those were words. Every word you write makes you a better writer.
Yes.
So
Yes, and I just thought of something else, a little tidbit to tell people. We were just talking in the kitchen a little while ago about books that have like inaccuracies, and Lisa's a wife of a doctor, so she knew some things that she read in a book, these things that just didn't fit with being a doctor, and so she was like, okay, that just lost that credibility for that author. So little bit of research, she was like, if I pull it up on Google, she found the correct answer that she could have, if she had been the author, she could have written it correctly just with like a 30-second Google search. So my advice after listening to that conversation is to make sure you do your research, even if it's just Google or Google Maps. I love Google Maps. It's like my favorite research tool is Google Maps and YouTube. I learned to surf using YouTube.
See, and I was able to describe how horses were born.
How horses And for those of you who don't realize that I'm joking, I honestly do not know how to surf. I would have to spend like 6 months of core training before even attempting to learn to surf. What I meant is that I learned to surf using a YouTube channel so that I could write a book that has a surfer in it. So use the tools that are available to do research, and don't lose credibility with your readers by saying that a doctor is doing something when the doctor doesn't do that.
And the other advice I would give, get a critique group. I would never have written my first book or any of the ones since then if I hadn't had a critique group from the very start.
Well, and it's also to have somebody read your words that are other authors.
Yeah.
Your mommy and your daddy and your sister and your aunt don't count as critique
unless
group.
you're professional editors, and then by all means give them your work.
But even then, it's like your family is not going to want to offend you, so they're probably not going to tell you just how bad it is. But a critique group, especially a critique group of other authors who care about you, but not like not care that they're going to hurt your feelings, more that they care that you don't publish rubbish.
I think the other thing, one of the things that I work by in terms of the writing is when I first started writing, I did not like the editing process. That was not fun to sit there and try to fix stuff. And I also super overwrote my first novel, so I had to cut like 33,000 words out of it. And you know what? I don't remember any of those. I don't even have the draft anymore of what that original was. Really? I don't know what I cut anymore because the book is what it is supposed to be. But through that process of having to go through that several times, I learned to love editing. And so my motto is, and this goes for critique group too, if you don't make it bleed, and that's referring to the red pen, if you don't make it bleed, I can't make it better.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned to really enjoy editing, because now I'm like, make that thing look like a horror movie. Just drip with blood, red ink down the page. So
you totally won the contest the other day with one of our lessons. That was how much can you cut out of this? She gave us a passage that was like, I don't know how many thousands of words. I think it was like 3,000 words. And how many words? 1,000 words?
Yeah, I got it down to like less than 600.
We were all very, very impressed. I had no idea how she did that, because when I read it, I'm kind of like flowery and lovely, and the point was that there were too many flowery and lovely words in this passage, and we needed to cut it down to just the words that need to be there, not just the flowery stuff. I have a tendency, I'm not really underwrite, more like I'll write like the dialogue.
Yeah.
And then go back in and have to add in some details. I have a lot of dialogue in my books, but not like as much character development and stuff. So I have to go back and fix things. So it's usually that I need to add things, not subtract.
I'm a meat writer. We compare it to like making something, I don't know,
Make like sausage.
no, like crock pot. Like,
oh,
I'm a meat girl. Like when I write the meat, and then I have to go back and add the carrots and the potatoes, and the celery and the gravy, and like all that yummy stuff.
See, mine's almost like a framework. Like I've written this frame of mostly dialogue, but it's talking heads.
It works.
It works exactly.
And that's the whole thing. Find the process that works for you, because it's individual to everybody. And to try different things, because if you don't experiment with your process, writing or publishing or whatever, you may never find the things that work for you because you were too afraid to just try them out. So don't be afraid to try, and don't be afraid to fail.
And don't be
You'll
afraid
learn
to fail.
And don't be afraid to succeed either. And don't let anybody make you feel bad for having success.
Yeah.
That too.
And we wish you the best of success.
Yes.
And we would love to see comments about like how you like this video and stuff. So let us know how tired we look from me. We've been here almost a week and
Makeup on.
you have makeup on. I look
You can
really
tell.
tired. But we have been here for like almost a week and we haven't killed each other yet. So you know we're having fun.
We do have shovels and a lot of sand available though.
We talked about that earlier that we needed to show.
We will. No one would ever know.
Our families would know if we don't come home. Hi, honey. I'm coming home in 2 days. I promise. Okay. On that note, we will say good night.
Good night.
And where can people find you? What's your email?
So again,
or your
again, my
website.
website is www.lisaswinton, LISASWINTON.com. You can find me there. You can look me up on Amazon. I'm under Lisa Swinton. That's where you can find all the good stuff.
All right. And I am authorjuliespencer.com. And on Amazon, my pen name is Julie L. Spencer. Apparently there is another Julie Spencer who writes fiction, and I think she has one book, and I've heard it's really good. Somebody told me, I read your such and such book. I'm like, I don't have a book about that. I'm like, well, it's right here. I looked it up. And so Julie Spencer, whoever you are, you're a great writer. You're just not me.
I don't have that competition on Amazon.
So I'm Julie L. Spencer, but on the web, it's authorjuliespencer.com. So good night, everybody. Have a good one.